Hello, this is Hervé from Comic Book Bin, filling in since 2002. This is the Mallrat. The Mallrat is a new G.I. Joe character from the Cobra side. It may be introduced very soon in the Skybound G.I. Joe Transformers continuity, what they call the Energon universe or shared continuity. This character is a miner, not a trooper. He's a Cobra miner, handyman, or regular laborer who goes into mines to get what's called dark energon. Now, we know that energon is what powers Transformers. Well, Cobra has found a way of powering their own gear and equipment with dark energon. So they need someone to go in those mines, find the mines, and convert that, start the procedure of collecting the dark energon so it can be converted into energy for Cobra vehicles and so on. So these guys are not scientists, they're the poor schlubs that end up in these ranks. And to some extent, they're similar to past Cobra character. So although those characters are new, we have precedents. We have the zombie Viper from 2011, and from even before that, we have the Toxo zombie, which was also a Cobra-ish character that was working in hard and tough environments and so on. So we could say that the Mallrat is an updated version of those two characters because there is a version of the character before they're affected by the Dark Energon, and then there's the other version after that. So they're like zombies or laborers. So in terms of likeness, they don't look like anyone that we've seen before, but they're kind of related to past G.I. Joe and Cobra action figures. Now, the sculpt is partly reused. The thighs and the upper calves and knees are from the Roadblock Gung Ho mold. We've seen this used over and over and over again with the same two sides pockets and so on. Very thick thighs. We've seen those before. They're Roadblocks, they're Gung Hos. We've seen them on Naga Hide and many other characters. It's something we've seen before. Now, I took a good look and could not find any other parts reused in terms of the arms and so on. Everything seems brand new. I haven't checked for the boots or the hands, but the arms and the torso appear to be brand new parts just for the Mallrat. He's a beefy guy, but not the tallest guy, so he's kind of stubby in a sense. Now, he has two heads, obviously. There's the face mask, which allows him to breathe into toxic environment, dangerous places, and he's got the other head, which is the exposed zombified head that's been affected by dark energon. When you look at the mask head, you'll have to pay attention to the width between the two eyes. So the eye socket is kind of wide, so it's a bit weird for the character. It would be very difficult for a human to look through those. They should be a bit closer, but that's okay. For some people's face, it might be just right, but for the average person, the socket is a bit too wide. There is like a plate on the torso, but that's sculpted in, and they've glued in some pockets on his belly. Although the folds on the mask head make it look like it's an exposed brain, it's not. It's really folds in the wrapper around the head. You can see this in the zombified version of the head also. I think it's a great looking figure if you're looking to army build laborers and miners and so on. They're not warriors, and technically there should be more of them than regular troops, since there's usually more support staff and non-combat staff than regular armed staff. A bit like there should be more techno vipers than actual troops in Cobra. I can see this build being reused for Airtight in the future or other characters, even Snowfaring Arctic Troopers. What's fun with this build is that there's so many things to latch on the character and gear that fits on him that it's fun to play with him. Like, there's a lot of things that you can play with. It's fun in terms of world building. Now, the paint on the figure is an issue. The base plastic is dark blue, grayish blue, and they've used orange paint all over his body except for the head, which is kind of a dark orange, but they've used that same hue on top of the gray bluish suit, and it doesn't look good because they didn't put layers that were thick enough so you can see the original paint peering through, and that's never a good thing. The only part that's not really affected by that are the boots, where the coating seems to be good enough, and obviously the elbows, which are made in base orange plastic also, so therefore they're not a problem. But everything else, the plastic doesn't look good because the paint can be seen underneath. It looks kind of cheap when you look at it this way. Now, the other cool effect with the paints that they've done is on the alternate head, which glows in the dark. For the glow in the dark feature to work, you need to expose it a bit to light, and then you should shut down the lights, and then you'll see it. If you don't expose the figure to light, it's not gonna glow as much. So if you want to play with that, you have kids, just give it a good helping of light before you do something. The figure is quite stable even though it's thick and a bit top heavy. The backpack does not add weight to the figure, so it fits well. I find that the legs being very thick and the feet hold on pretty well, so this is not a figure that will topple, that will fall over. In fact, it's quite resistant. I like figures like that. In terms of scale, this guy is thick, but like I mentioned, he's not the biggest one. He's about the size of your other Cobra troopers, like Alley Vipers and so on. He'll fit with them pretty well, not a problem. Now, the articulation is where the fun is at. The gas mask prevents the figure's head from turning right. If you want to keep it on, you need to unlock the two holes from the socket. As soon as you move it, it's gonna fall off. And there's two sockets, so it's not very ideal. Now, if you disregard that, the head can move enough. The neck is very flexible, including the zombified head, has a good attitude. He cannot look up, can look down just a bit, but he should be fine. The arms have butterflies. They're not very flexible. Can't do much with them. The range is very limited, but he does have swivels at the biceps and of course double elbow articulation, but on my figure they're very stuck, and obviously I'm afraid to move them too much, they could break. He's got both up and down articulation for the wrist, and that helps a bit if you want to put gear and weapons in his hands. The waist does not have a hap crunch. It's a torso swivel and it moves well enough. The ball joint at the waist moves, but not as much. But if you want to twist your character, especially in zombified mode, there should be just enough for you to make him look a bit crazy. Now, the hip articulation is obviously roadblock and gung-hos, so the character can do the split. There's a swivel at the thighs. It works well. Double knee articulation. They're the same from roadblock and gung-ho, so there's not much to say here. They just work. The swivel is at the base of the folds over the boots, not at the boots themselves, so I don't think we'll see those boots again. Obviously, there's a rocker on the ankles. They can go up and down easily. This is not the most problematic part of the figures. The arms are, like I said, the articulation are not good. There is a drop down, but it's not very useful here. But good thing that the figure is quite stable, so you won't have problems just playing with it. The base plastic is dark blue-gray. The gear itself is made of very soft PVC, but you can exchange part of it. The hose is flexible. The two of them are. One of them is glued to the backpack. Some people said they were mines. I think they're not mines. I think they're more propellers that clear up all the gas and the toxic dust around. You can extend from a base rifle into a drill or some kind of shooting weapon. It's up to you. In a unit, they should carry both. I don't see this as a weapon. I see this more as equipment that can be used in a mine. The drill is kind of fun. There's a Geiger gouge for the mole rat so they can detect radiation and other elements. They also have a lantern. I like characters with lanterns, like green lanterns. You can pack this gear on the backpack, but it's not sturdy and it keeps falling all the time. So watch out for that. It wasn't designed to hold on these things pretty well. They keep falling. I wish they had designed better hooks and pegs for the equipment so it wouldn't fall off all the time. Perhaps a peg system would have worked better here. At the time, the figure came in Hasbro's windowless package. I don't have the boxes anymore, obviously, but the package was nice, especially the interior art. Those figures are about $25 USD, so 35 to 37 in Canada. Now, in terms of availability, they were Walmart exclusive in North America, so you won't find them elsewhere but at the Hasbro store. Usually, Hasbro makes its exclusives available to other retailers after. In the case of the mole rats, I haven't seen them elsewhere than from Walmart or Hasbro Pulse, unfortunately. So close to a year later, they're still the same price, about $25 USD, and they're still available on Hasbro Pulse if your local Walmart does not have them in stock. So they should be easy to find if you order directly from Hasbro Pulse. Now for Canadians, you can order directly from Hasbro Pulse if you have a membership now, and if you have an order of an amount over $100 about, the shipping is free. So it's not too difficult to get this figure if you want it. I think this figure will become more popular once it appears in the Skybound comics. Currently, it has no media exposure at all, so we don't exactly know how they're going to be used, even though we have a good idea that they're just going to be generic characters and so on. But once we see them, I think they might be more popular and they might sell out a bit quicker from Hasbro. Now, if Hasbro can't get rid of them, they'll eventually put them for sale, so you may want to wait for that. As it's not a popular character or a well-known character, it's a new expansion in the line, there's probably a lot of stock left. Overall, I like this figure. The problem is the gear that just falls off and doesn't stay on, especially the gas mask and so on. So that limits the playability of the figure, but besides that, it's a good army builder and adds to the lore of what G.I. Joe is. This is Hervé from Comic Book Bin. Like and subscribe. See you next time.